This is a Tape Deck podcast.
Hello and welcome back to We'll Run For. This is your host, Tom. And with me, as always, are Erin.
Oh my God. Why? Why?
Michael.
Hello.
And Diana.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
And he's going to edit it out, so
Please
no
don't.
one's going to know why. I was just like...
That is an after credit scene if I ever heard one.
Why is this what's happening
Speaking
right now?
of editing, how about that magic I did with Brooke's episode?
Oh, I didn't actually get a chance to listen. I actually meant to listen this morning.
I forgot what happened in it. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot we lost sound.
Yeah, I had to
Really?
ask the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when I had to call her and ask the questions over the phone while she was still recording.
I
Michael.
completely forgot about that until you just
Because
said
we
that.
could hear her, but she couldn't hear us.
I'll be. You could not tell at all, like at
Oh my
all.
God,
You
it's
listen?
That
like-
seemed. I always listen, but it seemed so seamless.
I always listen too. I just didn't get a chance
I only
this
listened
morning.
because I wanted to see if my editing came out okay, and I was like, oh, it actually doesn't sound like.
Yeah.
And I know they're shorter,
Yeah,
but this one was 21 minutes, so this one was pretty quick.
Yeah, she messaged me, and I think that was because we couldn't have the back and forth like we would normally have because I was literally answering. She couldn't hear us in order for us to have the back and forth, so it was literally me asking questions over the phone. Just a little background information on
Oh,
that
yeah.
episode.
Magic
She
of editing.
actually messaged and was like, "I'm so sorry, it was such a mess." I'm like, "Well, Michael's in charge, so we'll see what happens."
It actually didn't even take that long. It was actually pretty easy to go through too.
Oh,
It
that's
was
good.
pretty smooth, but that was fun. We recorded what day last week?
I don't know.
remember.
At some point last week, before I went away,
yeah.
Thursday last
Thursday.
week.
I was gonna say Monday. I don't know why. With Eric from On the Runs, had a blast doing that.
Oh,
did.
yeah. He was
I
awesome.
mean, we also recorded with some other people too.
Yes,
Can't
yes.
forget them too.
No, I was just gonna say that his we'll probably be dropping his episode
Oh,
first out of
next.
that group.
Okay. Yeah. Then we had some Run Disney. We had Chris, who was at Wine and Dine recording.
I feel like he wants to talk to me about Star Wars shows.
He does. We're going to have to have a whole thing with that.
It's
There was a little price of fame. Did you see that piece? Tim,
yes,
our friend
Yeah,
Tim was running Wine and Dine in the Will Run For Superior hat.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Chris saw him on course. And was like,
Oh.
hey, I just recorded with them.
That's
Aw.
funny. I
Had
missed
to be
that.
Chris.
Had to be Chris.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah,
Oh, what did Tim mention that to you?
yeah, Tim mentioned it. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that. And I was away in New York City cheering the marathon. So I missed a lot of the Wine and Dine action. I tried to catch up a little today with some of the people's stories, but stories only last for a very short amount of time. So I missed a lot of action this weekend down at Disney. And then we had Miles and Crowns on, who we were all
Yes.
floored that we've never
We
done
thought we
a...
had
It's
her on before.
unbelievable.
It's
I
un-
vividly remember a non-existent conversation with her. Like, I was convinced we talked to her.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you want to be on an Inside the Runner Studio and you haven't been on, I know we have a actual list of some people who have mentioned they want to be on.
Mm-hmm.
We've always kind of skewed female listenership, but suddenly we have a lot of males that are that we're going to record with.
Yeah,
So,
that's weird.
yeah.
Let's see what else was. Oh yeah, there was a Wine and Dine weekend. Is Donna the queen of Run Disney weekends?
yes.
now?
Oh, yeah.
She is.
She is like living her best life.
She is living her best life. And
Her
much like
costume-
Megan, it's great. Unbelievable. She looks unbelievable right now.
Yeah.
Just,
I would
sound
just like
a
to talk about her.
gross person talking
I would
about
like to
Donna
talk-
and her body right now.
Talk about her costume,
Yeah.
where she was the drink from
Oh,
the
yeah.
boathouse.
She was
Oh yeah, the duck.
That was
yeah,
the most
yeah.
adorable thing
Indeed.
I have ever seen in my life.
That was a good one.
That was fantastic. But everyone out there had some great costumes.
Yeah, it looked like a fun time.
It looked like a
everybody was
really great
super
time
having
from
a
what
good
I
time.
did see. We had a lot of friends down there.
There are some super obscure characters also out on the course.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm a little annoyed actually by the whole Stitch of it.
Yeah, the Stitch was really good, and then all of the Meet the Robinsons, because we usually
I
get
think
bowler
it's
hat
just-
guy, but we don't get anybody else usually, which I thought was really good.
And they had who had they had the why can't I think of, I'm blanking on the dead people, the
Gravediggers.
no, in the
That
ball
movie?
gowns, and oh my god,
And the ball
I
gowns.
don't know. My brain
The
is
Ghost?
I'm telling you, I can't even, my brain is so dead right now from the weekends.
Well,
that-
I mean,
the idea of thinking. I think my problem with the whole like, I understand that like the Stitch movie or the Stitch is going to be part of this season. So maybe they're bringing all the characters out that are going to be part of this season. I just feel like if you're going to bring out rare characters, like I did feel like why I'm looking forward to those rare characters at the Stitch, like at Springtime Surprise, because it is the Stitch race. So like now it feels like not as special if they're going to be around all season.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some repeats, but I think Run Disney seems to be listening to feedback, because that was one of the big things about Run Disney. Like pre-2017, 2018, it was almost exclusively rare characters. It was like super rare characters and rare groups of characters that you could not get together. And they haven't been doing that for, post-COVID. I mean, even when I did Dopey in 2018 and races that season, it was kind of like this, you'd see the same old characters over and over and over again, maybe in a slightly different costume, but nothing crazy. And I think starting with Springtime Surprise last year, they
stepped it up.
So
I also, you know who else was out there? Thumper was out there, wasn't he? Didn't I see the rap? Yeah. But also what I like is that even when you see the other characters, they're always like Chip and Dale were out there multiple times, but they were in different outfits both days.
Yeah.
And they had like really cute outfits on. And then I know Donald and Daisy and Goofy were out there, but they had like really fun outfits on. Like I feel like when they are using their like classic characters, they're kind of rotating what they're wearing, and they're not just doing like their same old like things.
Also, this weekend reaffirmed how much white people love Hamilton.
I just wanted to complain really quick.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Absolutely.
I have this dream that at one point we're going to take a vacation that has nothing to do with Disney or running. No shade to either of those things. But then Disneyland drops a Halloween-themed race weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds fantastic. Like, it just sounds like the most fun.
Yeah. I'm really annoyed because I would have done that instead of January. And I'm not going back twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
And,
no, I got you.
It's my, it's a big birthday. It's a big birthday next year. So,
it is.
I'm going to say
not
25.
without Diana.
But so we're doing like a big birthday trip for me next year. So we can't do both.
No, but it's annoying because like a Halloween themed race weekend sounds amazing.
On Labor Day.
On Labor Day.
In theory. Yeah, that's true.
But again, it's so weird because that's when Disneyland half marathon was. It was always Labor Day, which was why when it was in January, it was weird. So now, like, they've switched everything up. Labor Day weekend was always like the half marathon weekend. So it was like the Dumbo weekend. And then they did Avengers in November. And then I'm trying to think, did they do anything else? That was it for a long time, was like just those weekends. And then I think they added Star Wars in January.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Do we have any new 5-star reviews?
No. I don't think we do this time. I did just check the email. We do not. But thanks to everyone who's been sharing the show and all. That's just as helpful, and we appreciate it. Oh, and also for going forward, not for reviews, but since it is November somehow, so that means December and the end of the year is coming. We're going to do end of year goal getter review. So send in your end of year, what you accomplished this year, goal getter. Preferably a little voice memo if you can. We'll run for podcast@gmail.com. And then also in January, we'll be doing the 2024, what your goals will be for 2024. So send it if you want to send in a separate voice memo for that, or you can send an email. We can also read them. Voice memo is easier because we can play it and I can edit them into the show and all that kind of stuff. So end of year goal getter, beginning of the year goal getter.
Yeah, I mean, I'll post specifically looking for those two things probably in the next couple weeks. Actually, we're only in the beginning of November, aren't we? Yeah, it's only November 6th as of this recording. So probably sometime around Thanksgiving-ish time, I will start posting. So be on the lookout for that. This is our last recording until December, which is also why we're putting this out there now. Probably around Thanksgiving time, I will put out 2 posts looking for 2 different types of feedback. One, what you accomplished and looking back on this year, and then again for what you guys are looking to accomplish in 2024, because somehow that happened.
Yeah.
And the year is basically over.
I'm a little nervous about looking back to see what I said because
Oh God, I don't want to listen.
I have no idea.
I was pretty adamant that I was going to do a second marathon.
Yes,
I'll be honest.
I mean, technically you did.
Yeah, that's true.
You did.
That's
you did
true.
the Saunter and you did Loopy Looper.
It's very true.
Oh wait, you did 3. You did Dopey, the Saunter, and Loopy Looper.
Yeah.
Not to spoil our end of year episode.
That's okay.
You did more than me.
I mean, that's 3 more than marathon distance things.
It'll be bad, but
I'm pretty sure I was also going to lose weight, but here we are.
Yeah, I'm never making that a goal because I just eat. I don't. I've been eating so many noodles. It's like noodle factory over here.
That's what they'll call you. What are we running for this week?
I guess I'll go first since I was talking about noodles. I'm running for our Asian supermarket.
Oh.
That sells bulk noodles and amazing mushrooms and everything else. But I don't go in with them, not with Erin.
Yeah, I was away this weekend. I'm like, are you going to go to the Asian market? He's like, I can't go without you. I'm like, what? What?
I don't
First of all,
think that's
there
true.
was that-
I don't.
There was a gentleman that was in there by himself.
There was one guy.
He was a bald white dude, just like you.
There was one guy.
I'm pretty sure you could walk in there confidently, get your noodles.
Do you feel like Erin will give you street cred in the Asian market if you
Yes.
are with her?
Yes.
I don't know what kind of street cred
I mean, that
he
tracks.
needs to go into the Asian market.
Clearly, he's nervous.
It's like a quarter mile away.
Yeah, we actually hadn't been in there.
It's huge.
We kept
It's pretty
saying we were
awesome.
going to go, and then we just haven't been. So we finally went, and it's the size of like a regular
Supermarket, yeah.
big box
Suburban style supermarket.
supermarket with all kinds of like fruits and vegetables and like the full supermarket.
And so many things I don't know what they are, and I can't read what they are.
Yeah, there are so many things that I even as an Asian person, I can't read.
Since you don't, yeah.
So weird.
Difficult. I bought a snack. I didn't know what it was.
It was gross.
It was delicious.
We have a really nice one pretty close to us, but neither of us can go in because Chris Chiak lives like 50 miles away, and you guys don't live close. So I don't know how.
You're not going to be able to go.
I don't know what
we're
we're supposed to do in
Can't
there.
go. You just can't go.
My God, this took a whole weird little turn here.
But I enjoyed it. I'm running for 10Ks for days.
Oh.
Oh, this is your 10K era, right? These 2 months?
I guess
yeah,
I'm in my
we're doing
10K
nothing
era.
but 10Ks.
And I signed up for 2 10Ks, one trail one. We signed up for the St. Michael's, Maryland 10K next May or something. So like everything I'm signing up for
Is a 10K.
is the 10K distance.
Yeah, I don't know
It's a
why
good distance.
I don't know why we didn't do the half. We were just like, 10K.
It seems more palatable.
The other one, the trail one, that's the one that you previously did, right?
Yep.
Oh, that
Okay.
was that first one you did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
It was
I
a
didn't realize
time.
how fast that race sells out. It sold out in like less than 9 hours.
It was really quick. Yeah.
That's great. Wow, really?
Yeah,
And it goes on sale at like midnight.
yeah,
and then
and
by
it was
like-
sold out by like 9 something in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I went on when I remembered it that morning, and it was already sold out. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not gonna think about doing this because they have a half, and it's like right by them. So I was like, oh, maybe I can look at that, and
Yeah.
then I was like, I guess I can't look at this.
Wow.
And Jen Hall had mentioned that it sold out quick. I don't think that it registered in my brain.
Like how quick?
How quick?
Yeah. Like that's like real fast. Yeah.
Do races usually go on sale at like the stroke of midnight?
I guess a popular one like that would. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's some other races.
There's a
that
few
do,
here and there that
that
like,
go on
yeah.
that time.
I am running for apple cider because we did the apple cider run this weekend.
Yep.
And now that's just on my brain because nothing is better after a race than hot apple cider when it's chilly out. It was delightful.
I don't know if I've ever had hot apple cider.
Really?
Wow.
Even from like
I have-
Starbucks.
I just had a hot apple
I
cider.
don't think I ever
If
had.
I
had
had
the
known
hot,
that, I
yeah.
would have let you have a sip of mine. I had it when Frumpa was here for the Halloween festival thingy.
What if I put apple juice in the microwave?
That's not the same.
No, but you can put if you buy like the cider from the grocery store, you can put
Oh,
that in
put that and
the
like just
microwave.
warm it up in there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't think I've ever actually had hot apple cider, to be honest, anywhere.
That's literally what
Interesting.
they did. They just had jugs of like apple cider, and then they were like warming it up on like big pots.
I am running for record Florida temperatures because apparently I'm going to Disney at a time where they're going to have record Florida temperatures.
Ugh.
So instead of the enjoyable, like 70-ish degree weather I thought we were going to get, we are going to get like 88 degree, feels like 90 plus degree weather. And I have a 16 miler on my schedule this weekend. So
Whew.
I'm going to run in Disney while it feels like 90 bajillion degrees.
That's
Sounds like a good plan.
that's rough.
So that's what I'm apparently running for.
Yikes.
My original, what I was running for was going to be pleasant, like not cold running, but now it's going to be unseasonably stupid hot weather.
Yeah.
So would you say not passing out in the hot Floridian sun this weekend during your 16-mile training run is a goal of yours?
And now, it's time for our Will Run 4 Goal Getters. Congrats on making your goals, you getters. Oh, you rest the shit.
So let's jump into our goal getters. I know a lot of people had races over the weekend, but I think everyone, because they were all traveling still.
Yeah, a lot of people are still down in Disney, right?
Yeah, a lot of people are still
In
down
New
in
York,
Disney and
probably.
New
In New
York
York.
and all that. So we
Yeah.
didn't get a ton of goal getters this time, but still a lot to celebrate. So Jen runs the 50, another Run Disney race weekend complete. Paced my hubby for his first half marathon, and he did great. Now I have to mentally prepare for Space Coast Marathon, even though it's supposed to be a CTR.
Cater training run. Took me a
Oh.
minute to figure that out.
Oh,
actually,
good. I was actually-
I had to think
worked
about
that
it.
out.
Brain
I worked
was
that
just
out while we
processing.
were talking earlier. I was like, CTR, what is that? Because I've been looking at it.
My brain just stopped. But I'm still nervous for that distance. Congrats to all the wine and dine in NYC Marathon finishers. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Space Coast is fun. I want to get down to that again. Coach Mal. after the disaster that was my Marine Corps, it was hot, Mal. You've got to they cut the course and it was hot. My goal is to get in a better mental headspace for Goofy. Right now, running short distances is fine, but the thought of running double digits is terrifying, and my brain tells me I can't. Working on balance of biking and running and strength training so I feel stronger, even if my miles aren't where I want for Goofy training.
There you go. I mean, she's got so much experience. She'll be good.
Also, all of her photos were really cute. So even if that race was a struggle, you were winning in my book because your little outfit was cute, your skirt was cute.
Even the ones where she has like the like quote unquote miserable look on her face, she still looks freaking adorable.
Yeah, she looks adorable. Snarky, who you were with all weekend, Erin, accomplished our goal of hitting 3 spots for cheering at the New York City Marathon course yesterday. Cheering takes a lot of work, but nothing compared to running 26.2. Congrats to any of the Will Run For community that ran. I know this really isn't a fitness goal. It doesn't matter. All goals count.
Yeah. I agree. We always say that. We always say it doesn't have to be fitness.
Traipsing around New York City is exhausting.
It was so exhausting.
I ran all over Tamriel.
God. I don't even want to know what you ran this. I didn't even look. I don't even want to know.
No, he's talking about a video game.
Oh.
He played a video game.
I do have a story about the weekend after we're done.
Oh, God. All right. Tom's, I guess, new nemesis, EcoFit.
Yes.
I love it.
That's
the
my
level
friend.
of trolling. One of my goals for this Italy trip was to get a run in somewhere. I got in a run around Vatican City this morning.
I saw
and got to
that.
see
That's
an
so
empty
cool.
square. That's really cool. It was
so
pretty
the
hilly.
Vatican.
All right.
Hey, mamma mia!
Oh my God.
Hey, I'm the Popa.
Just make it stop.
It was pretty hilly, but definitely a cool way to run around a country.
Don't you wish he spoke like that, really? Like the Pope?
What if he spoke like Father Guido Sarducci? Remember Father Guido Sarducci?
I don't even know where this Pope is from. Where is he from?
Argentina?
Katie? After an injury diagnosis, my goal is just to run and train. Oh, and to survive my January races. Yeah, just do what makes sense for you.
Stay safe. Yeah.
Yeah, don't overdo it. Main Street Miles, Meg. I am running again consistently and following the Galloway plan, and it is so magical. Yes. Consistency.
Nice.
Yep.
It's,
Yep. And
all of us
she was
are-
struggling with that injury for a while, right?
Yeah.
Consistency is key. I know all of us were trying to get back there. And then former and future marathoner Megan. Another Ocean's 50-mile relay done. So sad that this is the last year, but happy that my team came in second place in the women's division. Oh my God. Way to go, Meg. We have been third every year. Guess I should start training for Disney in January.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah.
Nice.
Second place.
Awesome.
Nice.
It's really cool. That is really I'm always impressed when someone I know like places in an actual race. I'm always super impressed. I'm like, that's an option.
Also, shout
yeah.
out. Shout out to Megan.
Okay.
Are we going to say the same thing?
I don't know.
Because she is a new ambassador for Alter Ego hats.
Oh, no, that's not the shout out I was about to give.
And I love them because I like to golf in them.
Why don't you become an ambassador?
Yeah, you should.
I really should.
Yeah.
I was going
to shout out Wendy, who was on the Club 33 balcony on her Instagram stories today, and I was chatting with her, where she said that they had agreed that they would do that if after the World Championship thing that she did, which I just like ridiculous. What did she do? 200 and what?
17
miles.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Insane.
crazy. We tried to get Chris on the podcast.
He was a little busy.
But that was on Thursday. We were recording, and he's like, well, maybe she'd want to get rid of me, but most likely I'm going to have to get all of her shit together. So I'm like, I understand that. So Go ahead and take care of your wife.
That's absolutely incredible.
Yes. Absolutely crazy.
And I guess a good goal getter shout out to everybody who finished New York and Wine and Dine.
Absolutely.
Tanya, saw she finished.
Oh, I was going to shout out a
yeah.
bunch of people when I do New York recap.
Oh, there you go. But I saw she finished and she had posted about it. So I just
I saw Dave Bennett.
Oh, you got
Also,
a picture of him,
I
right?
got a picture with him. Well, he got a picture with me. Most people took. I didn't take any pictures this weekend. Everyone, people came up and they were taking pictures. So if there's a picture out there and you took a picture with me, can you please send it to me? Because I don't have. I literally took 0 pictures this weekend. I didn't realize that until last night when somebody was like, "Hey, do you want to put some pictures in the shared album?" And I was like, "I have 0." So I was clearly just enjoying the day. But yeah, we had several listeners out there.
So I know we have a few things to talk about. Do we care what order we go in?
We generally stick to chronological, so let's go do that.
Oh, yeah. OC was first. And
Yeah.
then-
Yeah.
All right. Ocean City, Maryland Running Festival.
This was inaugural, right?
This is the inaugural. And Diana and me and I and Nicole and Ryan went down. And the 3 of them were doing the 8K. I did the half marathon. There was also a 5K and a full marathon.
And I was trying to convince him to drop down to the 8K that entire week because it was going to be hot. And
Oh, yeah, that was warm
his
still.
race started at 9:15.
Yeah,
Ours
I
started
didn't-
at 8.
When you guys, because that was the week we recorded.
Oh, that was
um,
that warm weekend.
and it was coming up that next weekend.
Yep.
I didn't realize that your race started at different times and that your race started so much later. It seems absolutely crazy
Very
to me
weird.
that the longer race
started
later when it was hotter. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you're not expecting it to be
Well,
that hot.
The marathon started first. The marathon started at
Yeah.
7:30.
Yep.
And then they started at the same place we did, which is kind of the start finish line, all the same spot. And then the half marathon, they bust you out to the start. So they bust the half
Oh.
marathon out. So I think they had to wait for the marathoners to get to that point, maybe, so that it was easier
Oh, gotcha,
mixing.
gotcha.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
kind of do it, I guess, like they do with the Baltimore, where there's certain portions where the marathoner and the half marathoners kind of mix together.
Gotcha.
I think the thought was that they really needed to spread out the runners because none of the race course was closed.
No, it was terrible.
And it was a very sunny weekend at the beach, so it was packed with people.
Boy.
Mm.
And when I tell you the running course was narrow, it's hard to describe how narrow. Cone Alley.
Yeah.
If Cone Alley was 8 miles long
Mm.
and there was nonstop traffic, I mean, kind of like bumper to bumper traffic, so it's not flying by you, but it's still there.
Oof.
That's what people had to navigate. So you'd have walkers, you'd have runners, and you'd have the fast runners because when the marathon joined the half marathon, they would come up through some of the people that were a little slower, right? And that was just treacherous.
Yeah.
Not even my standards of treacherous.
Yeah, it sounds like pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was dangerous. I didn't really like the course. I have a lot of complaining to do about this race.
Yeah.
But
so I'm going to go ahead and say you will not recommend this race.
I don't.
I tried to not recommend it when I did the half when it used to be in April, and I said it was bad and it was a bad course. But Tom thinks I am biased against Ocean City, Maryland, which I am because it's a trash
She
hole.
is. She is.
I
But
he thinks it was my hate towards Ocean City that I didn't like this
That
race.
stained
But
it,
So
it's
is it
both.
so while this
It's
wasn't
both.
so while this was an inaugural race, they've also had this race before?
So it's kind of
In-
like a
in some capacity.
rebranding. They had
Okay.
and it was in April. So it was springtime, and they had a 5K, but I don't think they had they might have had a marathon. I don't think they had a marathon though, or a 8K. It was just, I think, a 5K and a half, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this was rebranded as the Ocean City Running Festival. But if we want to back up, we went to the expo on Friday night to pick up our bibs, and I was excited for like a big expo, right? It was the most lackluster, tiny expo. Like, think of the Philly expo that one time that we went with you, how it was just not impressive, and then cut that in half and remove half of those vendors. There was basically nothing.
Yeah, there was one little running store that had like one rack of stuff.
It sounds kind of like what if you were to go to like even like coastal Delaware or Rehoboth or whatever, where it's more like just a bib pickup where they have some like a little bit of merch.
Yeah. But it was very weird because they should have just done it in like a running store somewhere, but they did it in a convention center.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh. So when you hear convention center, you're expecting a lot.
Yeah, you pull up like you're at Shamrock, and honestly, it was not even a tenth of the size. So I was like, okay, so I'm less and less excited about that part of it, but I do have a kind of misplaced nostalgia about Ocean City, Maryland. It has gotten progressively trashier.
Okay.
But like I was like, I still get to do a half marathon in my favorite place on earth, which is definitely not Ocean City Marathon, Maryland. But like
it kind of is. When he says it's not, it definitely is. He loves it.
But so they bus you out. It was all very very efficient. There's about 280 people that did the half, about 400 people that did the full.
Oh,
or those numbers are reversed. I think those numbers are reversed.
I don't know. It looked like the smallest marathon I've ever seen in my life.
Say, either way, that's small.
It was small.
They took off, and Tom had originally signed up for the full. I was like, Tom would have been miserable.
That's like the amount of people that like a trail race has, not like a
It was so small.
Spread out over a city like that. That's like,
I feel like, I mean, you have a disadvantage of like, now you're into like the like thick of marathon training or marathon season where like people are doing like your big fall races. You have like Marine Corps that weekend.
Marine Corps was the next day. So it was
it was the next day.
Yeah. You have New York City marathons the next weekend. You have Chicago having only been a couple weeks. You have Baltimore having only been the week before. Like,
and it was.
You have all the big
Halloween
marathons having been,
just hard.
Oh, it's Halloween weekend too. Oh,
and like,
because that was
people are like when you think of Ocean City, you don't think of like while it ended up being unseasonably warm, you also don't think of like, oh, let's go down. Like, I feel like even Ocean City, New Jersey, they do theirs like that last weekend in September where people are still like in the like last of summer, hang on to summer feeling. Mm-hmm. By like Halloween weekend, you're not having that feeling anymore.
Yeah. So the race in general went okay for me. I just kind of settled into intervals. And the one thing that I did want to complain about, do you want to talk about the 8K?
We were finished our 8K before Tom started his race. So I was like, wow, we should be able to leave now. Like leave the city. We did have a pretty nice hotel that was in walking distance of the start line, so that was nice. So after we finished our race, we were actually able to go back and shower and do all of that and then come back and meet him, which was nice. But the 8K started at the inlet where the start line was. The 5K and the 8K started at the exact same time, and we were all in the corral together. Kind of one big corral, and then the race director was just like, just get where you think you're going to be. If you're faster, get near the front.
Okay.
And then,
yep.
And then you ran up the boardwalk and then back down the boardwalk, and the turnaround for the 5K was shorter. And they didn't close the boardwalk, and there were people and dogs and bikes everywhere. And this
God.
was early, so this was 8. So
Did they
no,
they didn't section it off at
No.
least in Ocean City, like
New
New
Jersey.
Jersey.
There's a coned area.
There's like a cone alley. Like
No.
half the boardwalk is for the people, half the boardwalk is for the runners.
There were
Nope.
cones at the turnaround.
yeah, there were
But
at
that's
the
it.
turnaround.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that
it.
was it. Yep.
Interesting.
No, so then you were doing all that, and then the later in the day, because it was so nice, there were thousands of people on the boardwalk, while the marathoners and the half marathoners were trying to finish because it was later in the day.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we had to contend with
I'm
that.
trying to think of what else. The I don't know, like the
Was the course nice?
no,
Was the boardwalk nice?
No, I
So
mean
I'm
the
trying to
boardwalk
find
is nice.
positive.
I liked the boardwalk,
Like
but
the
again,
boardwalk
Find
was
a
nice.
positive.
My entire race was all on the boardwalk. They traipsed Tom out to freaking Assateague Island with the horse
my-
flies and
Oh, yeah, I
horses.
saw-
Oh, man.
Oh, I saw
And
that
then-
you went out that way.
They made him run on a non-closed road.
Oof.
and again, like it was like the shoulder where a car could barely pull off and be out of the street.
Oh, God.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, I've run races where they don't close roads, but I feel
Yeah.
like they
Rehoboth
usually
is
have
like that. Yeah.
but they usually have like
Coned off area.
coned off area. Or
Some
like
of City of Oaks is like that too, which Jeremy
it was a
just ran.
perfect storm because it was also it was unseasonably nice.
warm.
So all the
Yeah.
surfers were out, all the fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah, like people that
people
have
It
going
may
like
have been
fishing.
different
house
if it
down
was
there
like
and stuff.
a regular fall weekend. It may have been fine.
Well, like Rehoboth is in December, so
Yes.
like you run on roads, but there's nobody there. It's December.
That's true.
Rehoboth.
Yeah, even I think if this was in like the middle of November, it would have been better. Or
Yeah,
early December,
A little later, yeah.
a little later.
So ran the race. I gonna want to give a shout out to Lauren Mueller though. She
yeah.
is a listener. She is a friend of the podcast. She is not on IG, but she's on Facebook. And I saw her check in from the half marathon start line, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm here." So she came and found me, and we were chatting. She does have a suggestion for a future episode where instead of just Tom going to Bottomless Mimosa Brunch and recording, all 4 of us should go to Bottomless Mimosa Brunch and then record.
Oh dear God.
Oh my god.
She thought that would be very entertaining.
Did you tell her she should be on it inside the runner studio when we do that?
I'm sure I mentioned it. But yeah, so I guess the race was fine. The course was whatever. It was cool to me to finish on the boardwalk, but like Diana said, now we're contending with everybody that's going to the beach, and it was just
God.
kind of a nightmare.
Oh God!
That
And
seems
then
rough.
when you turned around, you got like a huge whiff of Fisher's popcorn, which is any other circumstances would be like fantastic, and it just
Yeah.
made me want to vomit. It was so gross.
It's just
And
at the wrong
It
time.
was just disgusting. And then they had some country music star who's from Ocean City, Maryland, who sings a song about Maryland. And they started basically as soon as the 5K went off and then stopped at 1 p.m. There were still people on the course when they were pulling stuff down.
Oh my God.
Full signage. The band stopped playing at like 12:30 or 1. So even if you had done like a 6-hour marathon, I think that would have taken you until like 1 or 1:30. And it looked like they were going to let people finish. But
yeah,
they
but
were
without a
coming
finish line.
they were coming into nothing.
Oh.
It was
yeah.
bad.
I hate
Like I
that.
think they left like
Yeah.
the finish, everything out. They were taking the trash. The band was gone, like all the beer and stuff. Like none
That's
of that was
terrible.
going to be there. It was terrible. Like I felt so bad. Because Tom ran a little slower than he normally does because it was so hot. So we were
Yeah.
there basically at the very end where we saw some of like the last people finishing, and it was like so sad. I could not believe they were doing it to those people.
I hate when they do that. Yeah.
It was
It
terrible.
was demoralizing. And we did sit there for a little bit of time, and we had, a couple beers and whatever. And then when we were leaving, there were still people finishing, and it was Yeah, there was nothing for those people.
It was awful.
It was very sad to see. Like, and I get it. You gotta. I mean, you put a time limit on something, but like,
But like
for
I
a
feel like they
small
were
race
doing it before
already.
the time limit.
Yeah,
And if they were going to have some type of after party, they needed to start it later so that it went so that even if you were the last finisher of the marathon, you can enjoy it. Like it should have gone later into the afternoon rather than starting so early.
Yeah, your after party shouldn't end at your time limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That doesn't really make sense for an after party.
well, and if you look at the website, it says Finishers Village will be open from like 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or something like that. So it was at least like an hour buffer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Where the village would be open.
And it wasn't.
But like Diana said, around 1, they started cutting things.
mm-hmm. And there wasn't a ton of stuff there. I will say, okay, here's my good thing about the race. The after race beer and drink selection was fantastic. They had those Cutwater, like margaritas. They had Hoopty, which I don't know. I think you can get that outside of Maryland, which is it's like this. It was made in Ocean City, Maryland. They have it like in all the bars and stuff here.
I've never heard of it. What is it?
Tea, and it's like alcoholic iced tea. It's freaking delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's so good.
It was really
but
good.
It's better than like I don't know, like what are those other brand like
like Twisted
Tea.
Yeah.
But it's like it's better than that. And they're starting to expand. So they had like cans of that. Like actually good beer. So that was like the one good thing.
And it was ice cold.
Yeah,
like it was
great.
really good.
And they had the medal was great.
Yep.
The Chessie Challenge medal was great. The actual race medal was great. It was an oyster. The premium, and I don't know if we've ever posted a picture of it, but the premium for the Chessie Challenge was like a Stanley Cup that said Chessie on it. So that was really nice. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'd never do it again. And when he said he wanted to do that half, I was like, I don't know. The course is terrible. You should just do the 8K. And he didn't believe me.
I kind of know. And the good things, while it was very few and far between, were really good. Overall, it's not a great experience. I blasted them in the survey just because of the course and the fact that they just started breaking everything down before people were.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, it just sends the wrong message. But I'm not a race director, so what do I know? But I don't know that I'd do it again. I'm glad I did it. I don't know that I'd do it again.
Yeah, that's good. You ran in a town you wanted to run in, and you know.
Yeah, we did our little challenge thing, which was very cute.
Yeah,
you got the Chessie challenge done, so that was kind of the most important part.
Now,
absolutely.
That was it. Was it run by the same people who do the Baltimore Marathon?
Yeah, so it was run by Corrigan, which is why we were shocked.
They usually do it pretty well.
I wonder if they had like a different crew out there or something because it's a new race or something like that.
Because they do Baltimore, they do the Baltimore 10 miler.
They do Annapolis too, right?
They do Annapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's why when you said that, my brain was like, "Oh, Charm City," but then I was like, "No, that's not Charm City. It's the one that does the Baltimore races because that in order to get that chassis challenge, it would make sense for it to be the Baltimore people."
Well, and there's a local Charm City run down there, like that's close to Ocean City. Yeah, like there weren't any vendors. It was just so weird. Like you couldn't get any fuel at that expo.
Oh, not even like a little fuel vendor.
Oh,
or
that's
anything.
weird.
Huh. Nothing.
No usually
gooders.
You could get a little bit of fuel. They had a running store there. It was like Rehoboth running store.
Okay.
They had like 2 racks of clothes and then like half a table of like some goos and stuff, but not a lot.
Yeah, because the Rehoboth running store,
been gone.
The Rehoboth running store is the one that runs the Rehoboth Marathon weekend.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mary Beth, I think is her name, who owns the Rehoboth running store. She was the one who started that race.
Yeah,
I believe.
Well, and the girl that we were talking to, because I bought a pair of shorts. She was like, "Well, if we knew nobody else was going to be here, we would have brought a lot more stuff." Is what
Yeah,
they
if they had no
said. Like,
competition, yeah. If they knew no other vendors were going to be there, they probably could have sold a ton of stuff.
yeah.
Just people who randomly need things, you know?
Yep.
Interesting.
All right. So that's the Ocean City, the inaugural Ocean City, Maryland Running Festival.
Running
I will
festival.
say, I did not puke on course like I did last time I ran in Ocean City, Maryland.
That's a positive.
Positive. That's a net positive for me. It's a net positive. And then over the weekend we did the Hot Cider Hustle. So it's kind of the same type company that does like the hot chocolate runs, and it had that kind of vibe, like the color run vibe, all
Fun.
of that. They had a just fun, casual. They did a 5K and a 10K at National Harbor, which is nice. We don't get down there very often. They should have had the 10K go off before the 5K, because the first mile or so, you're running down this like little tiny path. And in that kind of race, it's just kids and walkers and
That's
strollers
true. Yeah,
and no etiquette whatsoever. So even if you were running, you couldn't get around people. And for some reason, we're going to start where our actual pace is and not start near the front, which was a mistake. Mistake. Because then we were stuck behind like everyone.
Everyone,
some of the last people to leave. But hilly.
Yeah.
We got to run over the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. So that was cool. I've never done that
cool.
before.
I don't know what bridge that is.
It goes
it's the drawbridge, right?
From DC into Arlington, Virginia.
Yeah, Alexandria, Virginia.
Alexandria, yeah.
Yeah. There's apparently a good running path down there. Lisa and Chris run down there all the time because it's close for them. But I've never really ran down there. So yeah, it was cute. The premium was good. I bought the medal. The medal was cute. And afterwards, you got a mug and hot cider and caramel apple.
Yeah. It was a huge.
It was huge.
It was a huge local 5 and 10K. Like there was like 1,000 people.
Oh man.
Yeah,
which again, like Diana said, like they had pace groups, but the last pace group was the 12-minute per mile pace group, and everybody was in that pace group that was walking, that had strollers, and then 12 and above, whatever. So it was just a potpourri of ability all together, and then they funnel you immediately onto a small walking path that was just a calamity of errors.
Yeah, I think it took us, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes to get started because they were funneling you so skinny.
Oh, wow.
And everyone they weren't doing waves. Everyone just started, but you immediately basically entered Cone
It's
Alley.
basically being at a trail race where you start with a bunch of people and then go.
Yeah, exactly.
One single track, and you're one person at a time, please. And you're wait,
what's that?
So we should have just started up towards the front.
Yeah.
But hindsight, I don't know.
It's hard to judge in those races, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, I can't even say his name now. That is the big 495 bridge. I was like, they couldn't have. That can't be that bridge, can it? Yeah, it is. That's cool.
But think of the Ben Franklin Bridge, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just on the side there, and we just kind of did an out and back.
I gotcha.
Diana said, yeah.
Okay.
But that's got a good view. That bridge has a good view of the Washington Monument and stuff from.
Oh yeah, we did a photo.
Okay,
it's on someone's camera.
That was that's the bridge that when you're staying in Virginia for MCM, you got to go. They shuttle you over that bridge over to that Gaylord Convention Center that's in National Harbor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Spoiler alert: everything's very expensive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What, National Harbor?
Everything. Well, yeah, National Harbor, but everything.
Oh.
Just in general, you can just apply that to everything. It's more expensive than I want it to be right now.
Oh, in life, all of things in life are more expensive than you want it to be.
Speaking of very cheap places, You spent the weekend in New York City.
Which is not very cheap. Because this weekend was probably more expensive than I would want it to be, but New York City.
Before you start, we did get Tanya's goal getter just now. Breaking news.
Okay.
Oh,
I will read it for us. She's getting a special shout out.
Love it.
Got my Marine Corps Marathon and New York City Marathon done. Now I can rest for the remainder of 2023, right?
Yes. You did back-to-back weekend marathons. I'm pretty sure.
she was doing back-to-back.
Yes, she did both. Yeah.
You can sit
Here's the
around
thing,
and
like-
do absolutely nothing.
I had a sigh of relief when I just completed a half marathon 2 months before the end of the year, and I'm like, now I can relax. Tanya, you win. Good job.
Gosh. Yeah, it was a fun weekend. New York City Marathon weekend is always a great time. If you just want to be near just a crazy atmosphere, go to New York City on New York City Marathon weekend. When I did this race, however many years ago I did it, I said that I wanted to return in two capacities. One, I wanted to come back and fun run it in a way where I could enjoy the city and the sights and the people and the crowds and the people cheering and stop for like the beer, the high fives, the like everything. I was not in that kind of shape. I would have been in survival mode. So instead, I decided to not run this race. My other capacity in which I wanted to come back was to cheer it, because I think the best part of what this race, for me, when I ran it, was the people. They say wear your name on your shirt during this race and any real major marathon you do, like major big city race you do, if you wear your name on your shirt. The amount of people that yelled my name throughout the entire race was incredible, and it was crazy. And it just always, like, when you were having a down moment and all of a sudden you heard someone go like yelling, "Go Erin!" You were like, "Oh, that's me." And it like lifted you up. So I wanted to do that for other people. So while we knew people who were running, I would say that my primary goal was not to necessarily be there for all of our people as much as I wanted to be. I also wanted to be there for all of the runners and the people of New York, and running the whole race. So I was very excited to get to do that this weekend. I was with Marsha and Melissa, Snarky Snacker, and our friend Jen from Connecticut also came down and cheered with us. We dressed as piñatas. If somehow you've missed the pictures of us dressed as giant piñatas, they will be in the episode art, I'm sure. We wanted a way for people to absolutely make sure they could see us when we were going to have our friends try and find us. So we dressed as giant piñatas. We had a blow-up bat, which we did not end up using, and candy to give out to people. So, I don't know. On Saturday, they do have a 5K, the dash to the finish. I think I know the Boston Marathon has one, Chicago Marathon has one, New York City has one. We did a quick little run around Central Park, and our goal was to sort of end kind of by the finish so we could see some of the finishers. There's like 11,000 people that do this 5K.
Oh, wow.
It's insane. We weren't sure how many people I think at some point Melissa may have asked, like, how many people do this? And I was like, I don't know, maybe like, I wanted to say over 5,000, but I thought that feels like an exaggeration. And so I was like, I don't know, maybe 5,000. And then when we were standing at the finish, I looked at last year's finishers and there was over 11,000 people as we're like watching them pour in. I'm like, this is more than 5,000 people. I wonder how many people do this.
Well, and I'll bet it was like a combination of like a shakeout run, or the people that traveled with the marathoners that were like, I'll do that 5K with you the day before. Because that's what I would do. Yeah.
I feel, and by the time I deferred, it was sold out. So it wasn't a possibility for us to do, because I would have done something like that. So I do think, and there was a lot of kids doing it. So I think it was a lot of families, like the families are in for the marathon. The parents are going to do a quick little shakeout with their kids and their family, because there was definitely a lot of families out there. So it was pretty cool. So that was fun to spectate also. That was a little unexpected spectatorship we did. But the actual marathon day, our goal was to be at mile 8, mile 17.5, and mile 24-ish, right as you come into Central Park. We, as Melissa said, accomplished our goal of getting everywhere where we wanted to. I will say that our hot takes about things, we recorded a little bit of content, but then we're not releasing it because we realized we didn't get that much. And it was really just me, Melissa, and Marsha randomly complaining.
I was just like, yeah, either like complaining or just trying to scream over. I can't imagine how loud it was.
Yes,
honestly,
it's insanely
like
loud.
I can't imagine how loud.
So you can't record when you're just standing there. So we tried to like record in between moving places, but like it was like awkward and weird. And you can't interview people because the people who are coming to stop for things or to say hi to you or give you a hug that you do know are like running a marathon. So you're not going to be like, hey, take a second to let me record you. Like it was just. So it just didn't feel like something that in case anyone's wondering why we're not going to release an on the ground, that is why. But I will say we wanted to see the elites go by. So we made the decision that we were going to get there at we were going to leave the hotel by 8 and be on course. The women's elite started at 8:40 or 8:50. So we kind of timed it so that we would get to where we wanted to be right around that time, knowing that it wouldn't be as crowded at that point and we'd be able to get a really good location. So we get off the train, we get to where we want to go. We're right in front of mile 8. We're at the police line. So they have like police tape. They have barricades in some places that you have to stand behind, like a fence type barricade. And then there's other places where they just have like blue police tape going from like light post to light post. So we're behind the curb, behind the blue police tape. We watch the elites go by. It's great. More and more people, as like more and more runners start coming through, start filtering in because it's like people who either want to cheer or they're waiting for their people. And all of a sudden, the street in front of us starts to fill with people in front of the blue police tape. And in the beginning, the police are sort of like, hey, you got to move back. But like, for the most part, nobody cares. And now they're encroaching on like, we're especially at like a turn where mile 8 was like right where like they make a right onto Lafayette. So they're basically narrowing the runner's ability to come around this turn because now they're all just in the middle of the street.
Oh, wow.
So if you can imagine like a 2-lane road with shoulders, now they're all in the shoulders and they're starting to go into the roadway. So now instead of having 2 lanes plus the shoulders, they've only got like half of a lane and a half to be able to run in because all the spectators are just closing in on them. And we're like, what the heck is going on? I will tell you. Cheering with Marsha and Melissa is fun when we all have megaphones and Marsha starts yelling at people through the megaphone. Spectators, please get out of the street and allow the runners to run where they belong. And she's just yelling at people. The two of them are getting so mad.
I love her. Well, I love both of them, but
the two of them are getting so mad. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, I don't want this to ruin our day. So I'm trying to be like, it's okay. Cause I don't want to, like, you could tell like how like both of them are like getting that like,
were people listening to them at all?
No,
or like,
no, not at all. Which is what was pissing them off even more.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we either, And now we're at the point where like we have so many people in front of us, and we had gotten where we wanted to go because we knew people would be able to see us because they're coming right around the corner. And now there's no way anyone's going to be able to see us because now we're like 20 deep in front of us. So
Crazy.
yeah, we were annoyed. That was kind of the theme, I would say, of almost the whole rest of the day in general. Not that we were angry, but like just if you guys, if just any listener out there ever spectates a race, please, one, stay where you belong as a spectator, and two, don't cross the street in front of thousands of runners and like walk really slowly. Because that was the other huge thing that we watched people do. Like people would just like saunter across the street. Like there were people who were like would run across the street. Like, and if you could tell who was a runner versus who was not, because anyone who has spectated a race and was a runner would like run kind of at a diagonal or like would stand there and wait until they could tell that they would be able to like have enough space to get across. But there were so many people who just didn't care. And there was like runners who literally, we watched them run into people regularly because people would cross the street and there would be a runner there and they would literally slam into a spectator.
If I was running a race and there was someone on course, I would stick my hands out and push them out of the way.
Well,
I have no patience.
We saw a couple of that. And again, all of us had megaphones. Don't give us all megaphones. We were yelling at a lot of people.
Yeah.
In Central Park, Melissa wanted me to mention this one. In Central Park, there was this one guy who was like literally like cheering, but he was going on course to cheer. So he was like moving from the like the shoulder and like would like put his face in people's face and be like, great job. But he would like go on the course in front of them and be like, you're doing great. Like, and they would like run into him.
What?
It was so weird. So weird.
I can't believe Melissa didn't yell at him.
Oh, we all did.
Like, what the hell are you doing?
We yelled at, we said a few times, sir, people don't want you in their face.
Yeah.
He didn't care. It was fine. He didn't care. Anyway, those are my hot takes about the race in general. If you are spectating,
crazy.
I will say there's a lot, and we were talking to like Michelle. We saw Michelle K and Peter. Peter did say like when we went out there at one point, he's like, "Oh yeah, they're like in the street way more than they normally are." Because they live in Brooklyn, so he did say that it did seem a little crazier than usual. But I don't know because I've never actually spectated. But I think the thing for us was that people were taking the course, like spectators were taking the course. So that's all I have to say. If you are ever out there spectating a race, just don't take the course away from people.
I feel like we have as a society not recovered from COVID, and people just have this weird sense of entitlement to like space and not understanding, like not being able to like read the room. Like society has devolved into madness. Like no one has any like common courtesy anymore, just in general.
I think that
and now you're taking like New Yorkers.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were saying. And like if you have no experience of like spectating a race in the past or like, because there's a lot of people like New Yorkers who just want to come be out there. So you got a lot of people who are either family members and never really run races, or you've got a lot of New Yorkers who just want to come out. And like the more you see people, because I said that the thing about it was in the beginning, like a couple people did it. And then as soon as a couple people do it, other people are like, oh, I can do that too. And then because those people are now there, then other people are like, well, now I can't see. So then they move further. And then it just evolved where it got further and further and less and like more and more into the course.
Yeah.
It got crazy. It was real weird. Anyway, outside of that though, that was the negative parts about spectating this race. The positives though really are that the crowd, I mean, it is they say that like 2 million people spectate this race along the entire course. It is crazy the whole way. Every place we went was just absolutely insane. It is loud. When you said that it's loud, I mean, it is loud. You can't hear yourself think most of the time. But I think my favorite part of spectating, though, is yelling everyone's name, because you literally can see the visible. And I remember it. You can see the visible change when you say someone's name. Like they're running and then you're like, hey, Dave, you're doing a great job. And like Dave like looks up and realizes someone just said his name and he's like, yeah, I'm doing a great job.
Cute.
And when you get to like Central Park and it's like you're right at the end, but you're like dead because you're at like mile 24 at that point. You could just see some people like just struggling and you'd be like, Patty, I see you over there. You got this. And like Patty would like look up and be like, yes, I do got this. I mean, you had some people who were like, you know, not as into you saying their name because they just want you to be left
They're
alone.
Like, I want to be dead, and I also want you to be dead.
But in general, it is a very like uplifting thing, and like I think the amount of people that appreciate the crowds and the people are greater than the people who find it overwhelming. I know Amy, Miles and Crown Amy, last year, she said she found it a little overwhelming at certain parts of the course where she was in her head and she just needed quiet. Because it is loud the whole way. There's like not a moment of quiet on that course.
Yeah. I saw my friend tagged me in something today that I think ESPN put out, that it's like, you don't realize how far 26.2 miles is until you trace the course of the New York City Marathon. And then it showed it, and then across the bridge and like over in Brooklyn and then like back over there, like, and you're just like, holy crap. Like, it's so far. Like, I think
especially
because a lot of us do so many runs, we just underestimate it.
And I think because New York City is sprawling, whereas like even like the Marine Corps one is like you're like kind of tight in an area, and even though you're not like in doing like out and backs, you're still like doing like the mall and coming back around, so you're like kind of in a compact area. Whereas New York City Marathon is where you really see how sprawling it is, because you go from like one location through like the whole city, through all the boroughs, and then through Central. Like, it's just like long. You can see how long 26 miles is. So, I did get to see a lot of friends out there. We mentioned Tanya. She came and gave me a hug. I saw my friend Jen Sorensen out there. She gave a shot out to Brad, our old Team Shenanigans friend. Who else did I see? Now I'm forgetting people because we're going to go over this. We saw, I don't know. I saw so many people. We had my friend Sarah was out there. I had like 20 people on our tracker.
Wow.
I had not our price of fame moment, but I fangirled to in the hotel lobby before the marathon. If you're a trail runner, you might be familiar with Billy Yang. He has a podcast, and he also does a lot of film work with some of the bigger trail runners out there. Justin Grunwald. I'm not sure how you say his last name. If you're familiar with Brave Like Gabe, Gabe, who was an elite runner who passed away from cancer and ran with cancer several times. She has an organization, Brave Like Gabe, that her now widowed husband has charity bibs for. So we got to see them. I got to take a picture with him. I fangirled and was like, kind of like in the way where I didn't know what to say. I'm like, hey, you have a podcast.
You didn't mention ours, did you?
No.
Good.
I'm like, hey, you have a podcast. That's so cool. It's so nice
I
to meet
never
you.
know what to say to people.
I'm like, I don't know what to say to you. I'm like,
I don't know what
listen
to say to people
podcast.
when they come up to me. I'm like, Hey.
And then I'm like, my husband will be so excited that I met you. Can I take a picture with you?
I would absolutely not act like that, as we learned with the Glenn Hansard incident.
You should have.
I'm like, I had no idea what to say. I felt so stupid. We passed by them as we were about to go into get breakfast, and
You could have just said, "Hey, hey, Billy, I love your work. Great job. Thanks. Can I take a picture?" Like, okay, cool. Like that. Like, I don't know. Like, could just said that.
I don't know. I got nervous and anxious about the whole thing because I'm like, why am I talking to this person? Who am I? What am I doing? It's just like the dumbest human. They probably thought I was literally the dumbest human that has ever existed. I'm like, what is wrong with that girl? Yeah, I mean, overall, we had a really good time. I'm probably missing people, missing things. I mentioned that I saw Dave Bennett. Gosh, I feel like I saw some other people too, and now my brain just went blank because it's been a long weekend. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, highly recommend being in New York for this weekend if you like crowds.
Here's a dumb question. Is it hard to get into the New York City Marathon?
It's
Yes.
very hard to get into the New York City Marathon.
Okay.
Isn't that a plot point in Brittany Runs a Marathon?
Yes.
too?
Yes.
But I also prefaced it by is this a dumb question?
It
What a dumb
is.
question.
No.
It is harder to get into than Chicago by a lot. It is not as hard as getting into London and Berlin and Tokyo.
What about Boston?
Well, Boston, you have to
Well,
qualify,
so
so
it's
that doesn't
different,
count.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just a
Well,
different.
Just like
Yeah.
lottery races.
Yeah,
it's
just lottery. Yeah, lottery races. You have like a 40 to 50% chance of getting into Chicago. New York, you only have like a 18% chance of it. Versus like London, you have like a 6% chance. And a lot of it is because London probably takes a lot more Europeans. In New York, they have separate lotteries for locals versus national versus international. So there's 3 lotteries for New York.
Oh, okay.
So they take a different, like if you're live within a certain mileage of the city, you're in a different lottery. And then there's like 9 and 1. If you live near the city, you can do 9 races and volunteer 1 race and you get guaranteed entry. You can do the virtual option of doing a virtual marathon. Our friend and listener, Shailene, is doing the New York City Marathon next year because she did the virtual this year. So she has guaranteed entry for next year. And then obviously there's also the charity options, which is what Tanya did.
I was going to make some joke about
See you next year.
about like, hey, I have an announcement, and then
I thought you were getting ready to sign up and put your name in the lottery. 2025?
we'll see.
Logistically, it is a harder race like Chicago. Like I know that Melissa said that she would rather do Chicago again than do this because of the logistics of getting to the start line and what a long day it is. I mean, a lot of our runners didn't start until 11:30 and the 11:30 wave. I mean, it's 50,000 runners.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yep.
It's a lot of runners.
You do see a lot of people finishing in the dark.
Yes, because it's also always the weekend of the time change. So if you start at 11:30, if you're a 6-hour marathoner to a 6.5-hour marathoner, you're finishing at 5:30, 6 o'clock. And if you're even slower than that and you want to take your time, I mean, you had Brad out there who was drinking shots and drinking like 20 beers the whole time.
Yes.
Follow
Brad.
his journey. Go find
Yes.
him on Instagram and follow his whole journey.
Brad, I would
He had
like
a
to
mile 2
subscribe.
beer, a mile 7 beer, a shot.
That's the only way to do it. You can't feel the pain if you're drunk. That's my motto.
I'd like to subscribe to your training plan.
Yeah. So
All right, well, cool. Well, we think you looked amazing in your costume,
Yeah,
and
they
I'm
were very
sure
cute.
anybody coming around a corner that saw that motley crew of y'all, all the colors, I'm sure that definitely, at a minimum, distracted them from the pain.
Yeah.
we need to figure out how to find ourselves like on Instagram, like like we should have had like a sign that had like a hashtag on it so people could hashtag us
yeah.
because the amount of random people who took pictures of us and the amount of people who didn't even ask permission just started like taking pictures of us or videos of us. It was a lot. And then people who were like strangely like trying to like secretly take pictures of us. We thought that was the weirdest part. Like it's like we can tell you're taking a picture of us. It's not a secret.
Well, cool. Do we want to wrap up with something good? I'll go first.
I'm kind of curious what yours is. In shambles.
It's very verbatim. We are at that point where we have taken, I say we, much like this podcast, where you guys do all the work. Diana is doing all of this work. I am helping. But we are in that transition from Halloween decorations into holiday decorations.
Gotcha.
And it's going to look amazing. It always looks amazing. But for like a week or so, our place is an absolute shambles.
Oh, it's rough in here.
It's terrible.
I'm very stressed.
But it's a work in progress, and she always makes it look amazing. And I have the best Christmases because of it. But like, it's just a nightmare in this room. But it's going to be like that until it's not.
And then it'll
because
look amazing.
she is building a winter wonderland in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. And I am very lucky. And if I just have to put up with stuff everywhere, that's the least of my worries because she's amazing.
Oh, thank you. I've got a decorating like hyperfixation. It's a problem.
It's not a problem.
And I decorate for all the holidays. It's not just Christmas and Halloween.
If you all saw when Michael and I came to visit on our stories, I did post Diana's bathroom.
Oh yeah, with my pink bat. Yeah, it's rough.
So,
I mean, it's absolutely adorable, though.
It's so bad because I just continue to like finesse and like do other things. And it's just for me. Like no one comes over and sees it really. And then I'll be like doing something different up until like the actual holiday. And then it immediately has to come down. Like why? That's like I can't sit and enjoy it.
Yeah.
My something good, and we haven't talked about it yet, but I think this week is the last episode, is Loki season 2 on Disney Plus. It is so great this season, and I know the Marvel shows are kind of a work in progress, and they're very controversial, and people love them or they hate them, and there's too many of them and all that. But I just like, since the first episode this season, it has just been on point. Jonathan Majors is phenomenal. I don't know if we're still mad at him as a society. Like I don't know what's happening with him, but he's great in it and I like him. And yeah, it's just really great. And it's very Loki focused, where I think like season 1 was more like Sylvie focused. So this is definitely more Loki. And what is his name?
Mobius?
Kihei Juan.
Yeah.
Who is Data in the Goonies and
yeah.
Short Round
and Indiana Jones is in it, and he is just such a joy. Like anytime he's on the screen, I just smile. He looks like he's having the time of his life, and he's just so happy to be there. And I just think about him on set, like getting selfies with everyone. And anytime I see him, I just squeal a little bit because he's so cute. So Loki is great. Give it a chance, even if you've kind of given up on the Marvel shit.
I guess my something good is the perseverance of the last finishers at the marathons. Saw a few TikToks today of those where they counted down like the final 10 finishers in New York City and some other stuff, and they were very good.
Yeah, I was bummed we didn't make it over there for that.
And also my perseverance of the weekend, where I did not shower for 3 days while Erin was away in New York City.
Nice.
That is
nice.
And in that time, I biked 10
Ew, I was
miles
gonna
on the
say, you also
Peloton
ran
and ran
on-
25 miles.
Nice.
Why is this a thing?
By Sunday I was like,
This is not the same thing as the perseverance of the people in the marathon.
It was like that.
You wanted to be as smelly as them? Is
Yeah.
that,
Same,
is
same.
that what was
Same,
happening?
same.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of the one of the first people with Down syndrome, women with Down
Yes,
syndrome?
that was one of the
Yes.
videos I saw as well.
Yeah, where I was then hysterically crying watching the video, and then I watched it again and cried again, and then I watched it again and cried again. This is why I'd wanted to go over to Project Finish. It's probably better I didn't, because I probably would have been a mess. But yeah, we were just too tired. We tried. We talked about it. I knew that if we went back to the hotel in between the when we saw our final person that needed to come through and going to the finish, that once we got back to that hotel, there was no going back out. And I was right. So we didn't get to see that. But yeah, that's always my favorite thing of every year at the New York City Marathon, when they release the videos of those last finishers. My something good. I mean, it's hard to like pick this week because everything about New York weekend is my something good. But I mean, can I shout out the dogs of New York? I'm gonna shout out the dogs of New York, man. We ran around Central Park, and I kind of went on the run knowing that the little oval in the middle, like underneath the reservoir, is where all the dogs hang out off leash. So we ran around there, and I got to hang out with some dogs. I got to pet this one dog as we could see him from far away. He was like on his back, just waiting for someone to come pet him. And the face he made, I think I posted it on our Instagram. Hilarious. Oh. He was amazing. Marsha and Melissa wanted to have a count of how many dogs I pet. I don't know. According to Melissa, when I pet Archie, because we got to see Archie, Michelle Kay's dog, I was up to like 22. I definitely probably went well past that. I love the dogs in New York. There's so many out there. There's the dog that is out there on course at like mile like 15-ish, I think she is. It's a she. Giving out high fives. A little golden retriever giving out high fives. She's Instagram famous at this point. So all the dogs out there giving out high fives to the runners, getting pet, being good old dogs. The dogs in New York are my something good this week.
That's a great one.
Should be.
All right, I'm gonna wrap us up with a quote in the spirit of the perseverance of the finishers for all of the races this weekend. And the quote goes, "The more I run, the more I love my body. Not because it's perfect, far from it, but because with every mile it is proving to me that I am capable of more than I ever thought possible." And that quote, I think, is attributed to native New Yorker Benjamin Franklin.
Oh. Well done.
Thank you.
That was really a Ben Franklin quote?
No.
I was going to say. That seemed a little long for him. He has usually shorter quotes.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please continue to share the show. And if you want to leave a review, we would like that. But we are just happy that anybody is listening.
Oh,
and
if you watch Haunting in Venice, skip the apple bobbing scene. It's disgusting.
Oh, that's on our list of things to watch.
That is a specific.
You'll know when you see it.
Some very specific advice for the end of this.
Is that
episode.
on Disney Plus yet?
I watched it the other night. I forget. I think it's on Hulu, maybe. But
we gotta watch that.
All right, I don't love the Brana Poirot.
It's fine.
I hate the aesthetics of his. I hate the mustache so much. It looks so stupid. I hate it so much. But this is probably the best of the three.
Oh,
movie. The last one was terrible, though.
The last one was terrible. Well, that's because Gal Gadot is not great.
This one, Tina Fey wasn't great. She's not. She's not really an actress. Is the problem? She's a really good writer, comedian. But yeah. But Yeah. There's a bobbing for apples scene that nauseated me. It's only like 5 seconds long, but it nauseated me.
Cannot wait to watch this now.
God.
I thought it was solid, though. It was really nice. And it was like shot on location mostly, except for the interiors. So it really has a good feel. I really like that part of it.
It's so random. That was the most random
Totally
way to
forgot
end
about
this
that.
episode.
I just remembered the bobbing for apples scene, and I was disgusted, and I had to share my disgust.
All right, so after you're done listening and sharing and liking all of our social media and reviewing our podcast, go watch A Haunting in Venice and pay particular attention to the apple bobbing scene as Michael just recommended. And with that, we will bid you a fond farewell, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, we have a couple extra goal getters that came in a little bit after we recorded. So I'm editing now, so I'm going to stick them in here. We have Wendy, of course, who we talked about. Partially reached my goal. The last big race of the ultra cycling season is the 6/12/24 World Time Trial Championships, which I competed in the last weekend. I am the 24-hour hand cycle world champion and set a course record. I didn't get the world record. I won it, though. That's okay. Another goal for another day. I can still say I'm world champion. That is awesome. And also we had Greg from Orlando. It's late, but now down a cross-training schedule that's consistent. Cardio needs to go up without the mileage, and there's only one way to do that. So I wanted to make sure we got those in, and see everybody later.